And we're back for more of Mario Party 6. Today we're going to take a look at the boards in this game, and like I said yesterday, the boards in this game are where the Mario Party series started getting a bit controversial. Now when I say this, I don't necessarily mean to say the boards are bad per se, but this was when the traditional style of Mario Party started drifting from the classic style of play. In this game, only 2, or technically 4 if you want to count extremely slight modifications, of the boards kept the classic Mario Party style in play, where you wander around the board, hoarding coins and purchasing stars. Although the goal is still fundamentally the same, stars were gotten in different ways on some of the boards, and new strategies were necessary in order to come out on top. The game also included a day and night system where every few turns the time of day would change, and based on whether it was day or night, certain events, locations, and paths opened up. In other words, Horrorland for Mario Party 2, but on every single board. Although Horrorland is still and will always be one of my favorite boards, will this mechanic help or hinder Mario Party 6 in the board rankings? Let's find out. Number 6, Snowflake Lake. Back in Mario Party 3, I mentioned that I was not really a fan of the other ice-themed board that was introduced in the Mario Party series, and 3 games later we're finally here in Snowflake Lake. Although I don't necessarily hate the board per se, I hate the forced upon board mechanic that completely changes the game and the way Mario Party is played. In this board, every player starts with 5 stars, and instead of purchasing new ones, you must obtain them by stealing them from other players with chain chomps that are located in different parts of the board. When you reach a chain chomp, you decide how many dice blocks you want to roll. The more you want, the more coins you have to pay, and then you march around the boards trying to pick up your bounties. One thing I will give this board credit for is that it's an interesting mechanic, but I wish it wasn't forced like this. In games like Smash Bros, for example, you can select the type of match you want to play, whether it's stock, time matches, stamina, coin matches. I feel like the start with 5-star Steal-a-thon, or better name in progress, could have been more beneficial as its own mode rather than an entire board's gimmick, but that's just my own opinion. As for the board itself, it's actually pretty cool, no pun intended. The happening space in the middle of the board acts as a minigame where during the day you go ice skating for coins, and during the night you have a snowball fight. There are also freezy obstacles that block you from entering the middle section of the board during the night, but during the day they melt and allow you to pass. It honestly had the makings of a great board, but I just don't like the forced upon gimmick. Number 5, Clockwork Castle. In Mario Party 5, after DK was removed from the roster, he became the anti-Bowser of Mario Party, the board event you always want to go to because only good can happen from it. In Clockwork Castle, these two titans get off their butts and off of their spaces and start traveling the board themselves. During the day, DK will walk around the board and give stars to those who meet up with him, and sure enough, during the night, Bowser walks the land and will do the exact opposite by taking stars away from you. This is a board that really makes use of the day and night system that this game implements, and for that, I think this board does an excellent job of the implementation involved. Heck, the movement across this board even changes from clockwise to counterclockwise based on the time of day as well. But why is this board ranked only number 5? Well, as nicely as this board does at a day and night implementation, it's still a lot of randomness to take into consideration for one board game. And with your direction constantly changing and shifting, there is definitely a lot of tedium involved. Like Snowflake Lake, it's a mechanic that you almost kind of wish was one you could choose as opposed to being forced upon you. Number 4, Castaway Bay. I kind of feel like this game was trying to reach out to me when I said that Mario's Rainbow Castle was my favorite board in Mario Party 1, because Castaway Bay is essentially Mario's Rainbow Castle, except now we aren't in a sea of clouds, but an actual sea. Some people even say the board music of Castaway Bay is a remix of Rainbow Castle, but I personally can't really hear that. Like its distant cousin in Mario Party 1, this board is fairly linear, with different forks in the road every now and then that can take you through different board events and happening spaces, but they all end up at the same place in the end. DK and Bowser are at the star space at the very end, and every time a player collects a star, or shadow star, or when the time of day changes, or whenever someone lands on the final happening space, the two will change position. Of course, DK will be the one to give you stars, while Bowser's Shadow Stars will take away one from your possession. One thing I do like about this is that depending on who is docked in the bay, certain things can happen on the board. For example, on one of the happening spaces, a Shy Guy can help you get closer to the star, but if DK is in the port, Bowser will fire at you, making you lose some coins in the process. so it's like they kind of punish you for being a little greedy. However, I feel like Bowser taking a star from you is a bit too much. In Rainbow Castle, Bowser only took coins. A lot of coins granted, but still only coins. And when the owner of the star space can change on a dime, it does seem kind of stupid that you can lose a star that easily. There are some different day or night events going on during this board, but for the most part they will mostly be used in determining who will be at the star space at the very end of the board. It definitely doesn't come close to the magical nature of Rainbow Castle, but it was a decent attempt at least. I suppose we should also mention that in the story of this game, in the Mushroom Kingdom, the Sun and Moon are fighting over very trivial reasons. A plot very similar to the likes of
Kirby Superstar. Yeah, you made this joke in the playthrough. Your sadness pleases me.
Number 3, Towering Treetop. Of course, the two classic gameplay styles of Mario Party end up in the top 3. And first up, we have Towering Treetop. Or since this is number 3, does that make this Towering 3-top? Oh right, I'm not funny. This board takes place in the area of a giant tree, which just so happens to be our good friend Woody from Mario Party 2 and 3. During the day, he is the same happy-go-lucky piece of wood that we've known and grown to love, but during the night he changes to his alternate persona of Mean Woody to cause havoc by dropping spinies on the heads of other players. Of course, this only happens on happening spaces though, so don't be too scared. This board is very basic adventure that's good to play on first experiences of Mario Party 6, just to get used to how the game is played, how the item system works, and how the day or night system functions. During the night, some paths will become unavailable to you, so you need to be ever vigilant of where you are in relation to what time of day it is, when it will change, and where you need to go. Overall, it's a very solid board that shows this game what Mario Party is truly about. If only the other half of this game could take a few lessons from this board. Number 2, Egads Garage. If there is one man that had a pretty big influence on the GameCube Mario era, Professor Egad would definitely be a huge contender, being the inventor of two devices that shaped the gameplay of both Luigi's Mansion and Super Mario Sunshine. And in this board, we are given a look at his garage of brilliant inventions. Like Towering Treetop, this board features the classic playstyle of Mario Party where the star moves around and your goal as players is to hunt it down while outmaneuvering your opponents. I personally think this map is the board that best complements the items of this game, which I guess I haven't really talked about yet. For the most part, it's extremely similar to the capsule system of Mario Party 5. You throw around board events on different spaces, and there are definitely a handful of them. However, the items this time, which are called orbs, are handled a lot better. For one, whenever an orb is used on a space, it turns the space into a profile of the character who used it. And all the benefits of that space will go to that person. So if the person loses coins, whoever owns the space will get those coins. This is a lot better than the randomness of Mario Party 5, where the coins would just get tossed away. And even though you won't necessarily memorize what space does what, generally if you are landing on a space that isn't your own, you have an idea that bad things are going to happen to you. As for the other board specifics, there is a large conveyor belt you can ride to grab coins at the cost of being taken to a different location. There is also a board event where Egad will fire random orbs on the board and give them to the player who actually went by him. There's a lot of stuff that can happen here, but at the same time, it's not completely random or tedious like in Clockwork Castle. It's just the right amount of content and substance to make this a good board. And kudos to Hudson Soft for fixing the capsule system too. It's definitely a lot better here. Number 1, Fair Square. I don't know what it is, but from the moment I played Fair Square, it was my favorite board in Mario Party 6. As you can probably tell from the name and the look of the board, this is based on the casino theme, a similar theme to used in Mario Party 4 with average results. However, I feel like Fair Square on the whole does a lot better with it. I think it also kind of helps that it isn't as blatant as Goomba's Greedy Gala was, where your destination depends on a roulette and craps table. There are slot machines, games of chance, so many things that I normally feel like I should hate in a Mario Party game, but for some reason I just don't. I feel like this board did a good job of balancing it so games of chance, first of all, aren't extremely necessary or forced like in other boards, but also not making it the sole way to a victory. Having a huge amount of coins is nice, but how you use them and the items at your disposal are absolutely key to success here. The star space, like Castaway Bay, doesn't move, so there is only one surefire way to get a star, or in the case of this board, stars. That's right, for the first time ever in a Mario Party game, you can buy multiple stars at once for a price that actually fluctuates quite often. During the day, you can buy stars for the core price of 20 coins per star and up to 5 stars max. During the night, though, the price can change from the standard price of 20 to a lower price or even a higher price. So the goal is to try to get to the center when it's most convenient and try to get the biggest bang for your buck. It may seem like this gives coin hoarders such a huge advantage in some retrospects, and you know it kinda does, but I always feel like someone who hoards coins is also making a really big target for themselves. You know, where all of your so-called friends start ganging up on you at every single chance they get. It also doesn't help being known as a lover of Mario Party. Isn't that right, so-called friends? Wanna gang up on me some more? Oh, sorry, I kinda lost control there for a sec. Anyway, with all this and more, Fair Square is my pick for the best board in Mario Party 6. Okay, that does it for Mario Party 6. So that means if you are a dark parallel version of me, you can get the hell out of here.
Fine, this is a waste of my time anyway.
Yeah, I agree. The door does look pretty cool when it's hitting your ass on the way out. Goodbye, see you again never. This is the Indiana Crazy House. We're here to commit the person who says he's talking to himself.
For the first time in my life, I feel like smiling. Too hard.
And that does it for another weekend of Mario Party. Once again, I apologize for the delay on this list, and I'll try to make sure I get Mario Party 7 up next weekend in order to prevent any further delays. I'm not going to promise anything, though, because with Let's Plays ending and new ones beginning, including Pokemon Generation 2, I do have a pretty busy schedule ahead of me. But I will promise that if there is a delay, you won't have to wait more than one extra week. I do want to get this series done after all. Anyway, see you guys next time. Later, folks.